All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this. Now, 3 days ago, we just did a video where Maxine Waters was out harassing this man who was doing his job, blocking the doors of the Department of Education. She just was screaming at him. The same woman who don't like voter ID, but yet was demanding that this man show her his ID, which he said he showed her one time, and she tried to demand and say, show it to me again. She was just straight out harassing people. Now, in this one and before then, Donald Trump was already, so they looking to see like what charges that they can bring against Maxine Waters for doing that, because if it would have been any other Trump supporters or Republican would have been doing that, harassing a person at a federal building, oh, they'll be talking about it. Now we come to this one right here where Elizabeth Warren and Maxine Waters again just assaulted a reporter on camera for asking questions. Said that she kind of like, elbowed him real hard. And then Benny actually brung the reporter on, and he's going to talk about even more stuff about this. So it seems like Elizabeth Warren and Maxine Waters, they both should be arrested. And it seems like that's what Donald Trump is looking into, to arrest both of them. Because they should. You can't get away with doing this to people just for asking you questions and you don't want to answer them. And now you putting your security guard on them, shoving them around, pushing them and all of that. It don't work that way. So like I said, y'all please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. That way y'all can stay up to date with everything that's going on. Without further ado, let's check this out by Benny. So y'all can kind of see exactly what just happened. And this happened in the middle of the street. So let's go.
Maxine Waters is the ringleader, a complete thug, and a gangster. Somebody who also should probably catch a case, very much like to see the January 6th charges that were brought against peaceful protesters, brought against these Democrat members of Congress. You can't, I have the footage, you can't tell me that what they're doing here is any different than what anyone did on January 6th. At least 99.999% of people on January 6th. So they're spiraling. Democrats are at a loss for how to protect the institutional power that funds all of their campaigns, all their NGOs, all their family members, all of the dark money liberal groups. They're having a meltdown over this. Maxine Waters screaming at Elon Musk and threatening Elon Musk and doxing federal officials. Here we go.
Wow, wow, wow. Look at this crowd. Elon Musk, where are you? Bring your ass over here so you can see who's here and what we're doing. We're not afraid of you. We know that you are the co-president now of the United States of America. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to follow very closely what he's doing and how he has done it. First of all, we're here at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. What is it? This is so important. Prior to this being organized in the Dodd-Frank reforms, consumers didn't have any place to really file complaints.
Oh man,
this is crazy.
For Maxine Waters.
She's out in the middle of the street yelling for Elon Musk. Here she go again on the attack. So if you want to talk about January 6th, what's the difference of what she's doing? You bringing out all of these people to harass people. This is exactly what she just did when she went to the Department of Education building, brought out all those people to attack that one man that was blocking the door. Here she go again, out in the middle of the street, calling out Elon Musk. Not only that, watch what else Maxine Waters and Elizabeth Warren finna do.
Waters, talking about banking regulations? Really, lady? This is the same lady that faced sanctions in Congress and was listed as the #1 most corrupt member of Congress because she put her husband on a board of a bank that she was regulating during the financial crisis of 2008. Do you not understand how corrupt Maxine Waters is? She's going to sit there outside of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Much like FEMA, by the way, President Trump, my producer is telling me, President Trump just responded to our FEMA reporting. Please grab that. I'm going to put that up. President Trump just responded to our reporting seconds ago on Truth Social saying that he's probably going to get rid of FEMA entirely. That is too corrupt of an organization. Elon Musk saying the same thing about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, who, again, if you have a bureau called Protect the Children in Washington, D.C., and it's funded by USAID and dark money, octopus blob NGOs, you know that what that organization does is probably traffic children. It's just whatever it is the opposite of the name, okay? FEMA is not for the helping out of Americans. It's for the moving in of criminal aliens to make your country less safe and to fund these criminal aliens so that they can destroy Western civilization and your nation. It's the opposite. It's just the opposite. It's so unbelievably Orwellian. Maxine Waters is there demanding the protection of Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Yeah, which has done the exact opposite. Maxine Waters was called on this egregious hypocrisy by one of our friends, Nick Sortor, who's a journalist. He's independent, and he has the brass balls to walk up to these Democrats and to ask them real questions. He got assaulted multiple times yesterday by the staff of Maxine Waters and Elizabeth Warren. We'll play you these clips right now. Imagine for like even a second if a Republican member of Congress had their goon squad out punching reporters. Here's what happened to Nick when he tried to ask questions of Maxine Waters.
I think I'm hypocritical.
Yeah, she's got to go get in her big black taxpayer-funded SUV.
Oh yeah, that's what happens when you're a member of Congress.
No, that's what happens when you don't have transparency in the government. Why do you deserve a big black taxpayer-funded SUV? Is that why you're so against Doge? Is that what the problem is? What's up with it?
Look how they shoving him.
Transparency in your,
Look at that.
What's the problem with transparency? Who the fuck are you? Why are you pushing?
Now, y'all can see Maxine Waters is allowing her securities up there and push this reporter for asking questions. But yet she's already facing jail time and them charges because it looked like that they say he's going to press charges on Maxine Waters. And plus, Maxine Waters is already in trouble for what she just did at the Department of Education building when she was attacking and harassing that other young man. So she got a lot riding on her right now. Let's go.
What is the problem with Doge? What is the problem with...
Look how they pushing them. Look at that. They just pushing them. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Remember Jim Acosta writing an entire book about Trump's attack on the free press? Had you ever seen a single instance where anybody laid a hand on Jim Acosta? Accosted Acosta? No. In fact, I have clips that can show you that Jim Acosta accosted White House staff members. We actually have the footage. This is weaponized autism, ladies and gentlemen. I know the producers are grabbing it right now. This is the footage is 7 years old, but Jim Acosta actually fighting and physically fighting with White House staffers, pushing and punching at them. It's the opposite of what they say. We live in a bizarro world. But there, I can just show you a clip of an independent journalist getting assaulted by the security of a top-ranking, very famous Democrat member of Congress. Why is this not national news? It's gone viral on X.
CNN, I want to talk about it. That's
Here,
what they
ladies
do.
and gentlemen, is Elizabeth Warren and her staff doing the exact same thing, except for this time it was Elizabeth Warren giving the elbow to the journalist. We have it on tape. Here we go.
The shutdown.
Senator Warren, why are you so afraid of transparency? Why are you bothered by the fact that Elon Musk is attempting to expose all of this fraudulent spending? What is that about? What is the problem here? What is the problem with transparency? Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Senator Warren, I just want to answer a question. How did you get a $12 million net worth on a $200,000 salary in Congress?
Look what he said, a $200,000 on salary. But how do you get $12 million? He just asking legit questions, and they just shoving them and pushing them. Not only that, watch what Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren is about to do.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
How did you do that? You can keep trying to block my camera. We're on a public sidewalk, so...
Get off of me. So you don't want to answer that question. What is it about Doge that's such a problem to you? You just elbowed me, Senator. I got that
Look
on
at that.
camera.
Excuse us. Thank you.
She just elbowed
Transparency
him.
is your enemy.
She just literally elbowed him. You finna go ahead and see it. Watch.
Nick Sortor, independent journalist, just got tomahawk chopped by Pocahontas. Here's another angle of it. You can see here the senator literally taking her sharp elbows
Going like that.
and jamming it against the camera. So there's multiple times in the same day that this independent journalist
Look at her.
was shoved or stopped from reporting the news, asking questions of elected officials. This is an assault on democracy. It's a constitutional crisis.
Imagine if Donald Trump would have did that. Imagine if Donald Trump would have did like that and elbowed somebody. Just imagine what CNN, ABC, MSNBC, just imagine what all those dumb fools would be saying. Just imagine. Let Donald Trump would have did though, and anybody that's around Donald Trump, could have been Donald Trump's security or whatever the case may be. They'll make a big deal out of it. Oh, look what Donald Trump just did. Look what Donald Trump's security just did to this innocent reporter who was just asking questions. That's what they'll be saying. But look what this woman did. This woman did just straight elbow the reporter for asking questions. And on top of that, her security team was assaulting him and pushing him around. And then she elbowed him.
Ladies and gentlemen,
that's crazy. Look at that.
Joining us right now,
bam, right in the stomach,
is the journalist who is brave enough to stand in the face of these Democrats and ask questions like, here's a good one. How did you become worth $22 million on a taxpayer-funded salary that's $147,000 a year? And that's before taxes. This is all that Nick was trying to ask Elizabeth Warren, and he got tomahawk chopped. And so, ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, I'm not sure from the hospital or the emergency room, but we'll see. It still confounds me that this isn't the #1 news story in the world right now. You were assaulted multiple times by Democrat staffers, and they just can get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing new here, Benny. I mean, they for whatever reason, they're not used to reporters asking them tough questions and actually, pressing them. They're called the press, but they don't do any press. They don't put any pressure on the Democrats ever.
Nope.
And we saw a similar situation on Maui. When the mayor's people were pushing up on me, and I got put in a headlock by one of his people just for asking about the numbers of people that were missing and dead out there. And in this situation, you see me asking Elizabeth Warren about her net worth. I feel like that's a very, very fair question. And it seems to be that one of the reasons that they're scared of this trans.
See, and he did the right thing by asking her, like, how do you make this much money? But yet, remember, she was just in Congress, worried about RFK Jr.'s money. How do you get this, RFK? How do you get this? She was worried about his money, but yet she don't want nobody asking about how she make hers.
Transparency is because it's going to reveal how she ended up with a $12 million minimum net worth on a $174,000 salary. I mean, look, man, I'm not a mathematician, but the math ain't mathing, Benny. I don't understand.
I've, again, seen Jim Acosta. Here's video of Jim Acosta at the White House accosting a White House staffer. This guy built his entire career off of saying that there's an attack on the press. And in the time span of 2 hours, you had your camera shoved. I believe that's what happened with Maxine Waters. So, a member of her security punched over your camera and blocked your shot. And then you had a very well-known Democrat senator who was running for president just a few years ago elbow you in the side. This seems to be grounds, I think, for a larger national conversation about the goons these people actually are.
Yeah, absolutely. And Benny, what you can't tell from the video is because when Maxine Waters staffer, well, first of all, I'll tell you real quick, it is not easy to ask questions and think very well and think through these things when you're being shoved and grabbed. And, I had actually Ayanna Presley's goon squad grab me by my jacket and pick me up. I haven't even posted that video yet, Benny. It gets worse. But
wow.
Asking her those questions, and they tried to literally take my phone. I had to fight to get my phone back from them. It's like because I was recording like this, and they grabbed it and started pulling it out of my hands, literally trying to take my phone. This is after they attempted to steal my AirPods. They pulled my AirPod out of my ear. This one of the Elizabeth Warren people. And then ran away and hid it somewhere. I ended up being able to find it with the Find My iPhone app. She grabbed it, and threw it
and then chased me down and said that I assaulted her and was stealing her AirPods,
Wow.
even though she had literally stolen my AirPods. These people are crazy. They're mentally ill. They don't have any answer. And that includes these senators and Congress people at this point. Maxine Waters is easily one of the dumbest members of Congress. Can't answer simple questions. Doesn't want voter ID, but demands ID from a poor staffer from outside the Department of Education who's doing his job and not letting her raid the place.
Now, look what they did to this man. Threw his AirPod, picked him up, all of this stuff. This is ridiculous. And that's really why he should be pressing charges on them. They can't keep getting away with this crap. But yet they want to blame Donald Trump for every little thing.
You know, they're hypocrites. They're not particularly bright, and they can't answer questions. That's why they don't. They're incapable of doing so. It's as simple as that.
This is nothing compared to what Republicans have to deal with every single day on Capitol Hill. So Republicans, members of Congress, are constantly barraged by reporters who chase them into elevators, who harass them, who are funded by USAID in order to make their lives a living hell. And all you're doing is turning the tables and simply asking legitimate questions. This is a huge question. How did they all get so rich?
Exactly.
Maxine Waters was named the most corrupt member of Congress. Elizabeth Warren is worth tens of millions of dollars. Nobody can figure out exactly why.
They don't want nobody to know.
It seems completely and totally.
That's why they so mad at Elon Musk. Because, see, Elon Musk is exposing all of that. Where did our taxpayer dollars go? He exposed. That's the reason why you see Maxine Waters now. She's going out in the middle of the street just attacking people. This is what she's doing to try to stop Elon Musk from showing how they got so rich, how they get all this money. That's why they are so pissed off at Elon Musk right now. That's why Elon Musk is just doing what President Trump told him to do.
Totally legitimate. Yet you're assaulted for this. There's new sheriff in town, Nick. Ed Martin is the new D.C. district attorney appointed by President Trump. Have you considered reaching out to potentially file charges for assault against these Democrat members and their staff?
No, I think somebody definitely has to. But the issue that we have here is that I would have to go, as far as I'm aware, to the D.C. district attorney. The district of, the city of Washington, D.C. would have to be the ones to bring assault charges against these people. And the chances, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that would ever happen. There's a clear double standard here in Washington, D.C. But, Ed Martin's a good guy. Might just reach out and we'll just see. We'll see what his is.
Well, it happened, the way that it works is it's his jurisdiction because it happened on federal property, and this is how they were able, the D.C. district attorney can charge anything that happens in Washington, D.C., and you were in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
And
beautiful.
So,
that's what I'll do right after this then.
Well, there we go.
There you go. Press charges on them.
Here on the Benny Show, man.
Don't take legal advice, but I'm telling you, this shouldn't be tolerated. You have a right. You have a right protected under the First Amendment to simply ask questions. And you weren't being violent, right?
Nope,
you
just
weren't
asking questions.
Or you weren't pushing or fighting anyone or punching anyone. They were punching.
No, I was the one taking the punches and taking the pushes. That was me. I wasn't blocking anybody. I wasn't. I'm not getting in their paths. I'm simply trying to get an answer to a question. There's no aggression. The only aggression there is asking aggressive questions that they don't like.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
It's as simple as that. Ayanna Presley, you're talking about the FEMA situation. I asked her directly in a video that I'm about to post. I asked her if she condoned FEMA sending $59 million to house illegals in New York City while people in Western North Carolina had been living in tents for the past 4 months. And I got the death stare of a lifetime. It was like a ghetto death stare, Benny. You're going to see.
They want to house illegal aliens, but keep the Americans on the streets in tent. And then Kamala Harris was the same person type of, we're going to get them $750. But yeah, y'all can send all our money overseas and send it somewhere else to another country. It just don't make any sense at all. That's what I'm saying. Democrats do not care about the American people. They don't care. They only care about enriching themselves.
I've never gotten that look from a congressperson before, but it's like a look of intimidation because, they think that
They think they're gods. These Democrat congresspeople think they are God, that they're untouchable, and that nothing will ever happen to them. And you know, I'm here in D.C. now. I'm going to live here in D.C. and I'm going to do this on a routine basis. So they should be ready for it. Maybe I'll have to wear a mask like their masked minions so that they can't recognize me.
Fantastic, man. We'd love to make you the official correspondent of the Benny Show, and we can find fun plots together. I mean, it'd be really nice to ask Ilhan Omar about her immigration status and her brother and how she actually got into this country and what crimes she committed. This is going to be a much larger story, Nick, that we're working on.
Not a bad idea.
With individuals who have a lot of knowledge of some of the dark past of Ilhan Omar. So more to come there. I might ask to see if you might want to go ask the congresswoman from Minnesota a few questions. But
I know exactly where her office is too. So it's I think we can make something happen, Benny.
We're getting ahead of ourselves here. You went thermonuclear. You went viral with this post, which I think is so profound from you because unlike any other journalist, you actually went to these places. You were in Lahaina. You joined our program from Maui. You were in Western North Carolina.
Yeah,
you did
I remember
same
that
thing from a Starlink. You've actually gone to these places, East Palestine, and you've engaged with those in these communities.
So think about this. This is what Nick said right here. Look at this right here. They said they had no money for Americans in East Palestine, Ohio. They said they had no money for Americans in Western North Carolina. But FEMA had an extra $1 billion to spend on illegals. This is, like he said, this is criminal. I told you these people are corrupt. They are freaking liars, man.
Individuals who have been totally abandoned and forgotten about, disrespected, and spit on by their federal government, by FEMA, told they have no money. You can only get $700. And then at the same time, behind their back, FEMA is funding hundreds, billions probably, for criminal aliens in this nation. This has got to have a very profound effect on you since you've actually been there. Talk me through what does this mean to somebody who's had their entire lives destroyed, who's here legitimately as an American, and then they see these criminal aliens getting lavished by the federal government.
Man, I am telling you, the change in their attitude over the past several months has been really heartwarming. But, talking about the stuff that was happening while these disasters were going on, especially once you got to Maui. Once they got to Maui and the place had burned down and FEMA was, MIA. That's the situation every single time. You never see FEMA. And they had already heard what the people of East Palestine went through. Yep. So they had very little hope from the get-go that they were going to be taken care of. And the same thing with Western North Carolina, the people living in tents by the side of the road and getting, living day to day thinking that they're going to be evicted by FEMA the next day because FEMA would do that. They'd give you 24 hours notice and evict you for no reason. That ended right at the day that Trump took office. That ended. They moved the date way out until May. So those people know that they have housing until at least May. It may even get extended again because the government is taking forever to clear these plots. The people of Lahaina still aren't allowed to go to their homes without a permit. That's how bad it is out there. And Trump has sent in massive teams from the Army Corps of Engineers that are clearing these plots at a much faster rate now. And you have to ask, Benny, why didn't Biden do this? Does he really? I mean, is it gross incompetence?
He don't care.
Or do they really hate these people that much? I mean, I fail to believe that anybody can possibly be that incompetent. The Army Corps of Engineers, I don't work in government. I've only been doing this for a couple of years, but even that seems like a super obvious thing to do when, you have to pave the way for people to be able to rebuild. I don't know why Biden sat on that and didn't use that in Western North Carolina or Maui. But
we said that plenty of time. He don't care. Like the Democrat, they don't care. They try to act like they care about the American people when they really don't. They don't care about us. They never did. Kamala Harris, none of them cared. All they cared about is being in power so they can keep on enriching themselves. That's the only thing they cared about was themselves and making all their money. That's why they never answer a question about how did you make this? You only making this a year, so how is your net worth $12, $13 million? How is you getting this money? That's the reason why. That's the reason they never want to answer those type of questions. They just want to remain in power so they can keep making all of this money.
They have some hope, and it makes me feel a lot better. Benny, one more thing on that. We were all called liars. We were called fake news. I was community noted time after time after time for calling out FEMA and saying they weren't here, they're not doing anything, nobody has seen them. I get community note and says, oh, FEMA put out a statement saying they're on the ground. Okay, I'm on the ground, I don't see them, you're lying.
See that? Straight liars.
Do you believe that there should be criminal charges for the FEMA employees that went around President Trump's back and funded criminal aliens and defrauded the American taxpayers, misused and mismanaged this and engaged in insubordination? We made some news this morning talking about the FEMA chief financial officer who was frog marched out of the FEMA headquarters after being found to be the individual, her name's Mary Comas, who was running a shadow government behind Trump's back and was spending it's not tens of millions, it's hundreds of millions most likely of taxpayer dollars illegally behind the president's back. I mean, as justice for the Americans who have been so disrespected and ignored by FEMA, what do you think should happen to these feds?
There needs to be an example set here. This is the time. This is gross insubordination. It's misuse of taxpayer funds at the highest level. Make an example out of them because this is going to keep happening. These people are, they think that there's some sort of social justice warriors for whatever reason, and they think that they're martyrs going down with the ship. No, you're criminals. You're stealing taxpayer money to fund your social pet projects and probably even launder money through these. And we know that there's a lot of money laundering going on through these NGOs to Democrat PACs and campaigns and places like the Red Cross, where that's another big thing that FEMA spent billions of dollars with, were NGOs like the Red Cross who are literally handing out maps, sending people to the southern border, telling them how to get there. I mean, they're facilitating an invasion, and I guarantee you this lady had a hell of a lot to do with that. I mean, she was the CFO. She was the one making the calls on who got the money and when and how quickly. And she's also the one at the same time that was directly denying payments to people living in tents in Western North Carolina. That's not just criminal, it's evil, Benny. She needs to go to prison.
Yes. That's how you stop it.
That's the only way it's going to stop.
Have consequences.
That's the only way it's going to stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want a safer country and a better country with more truth, you must follow Nick. I cannot emphasize this enough. Nick's account is just an absolute vehicle for truth. He's one of the few real journalists out there. One of the only people that is actually properly fearless in the face of entrenched power. Go follow Nick right now.
Salute to Benny. Yeah, make sure y'all go follow. If you do have an X account, please go follow Nick Sortor. I mean, he was just telling the truth, man. These people are corrupt. They need to go to jail. And that's the only way this mess is going to stop. You're going to have to start locking these people up. I mean, this is just corruption at its finest. And like I said before, that's the reason why these Maxine Waters, all these Democrats made all this money. That's why they never want to answer them questions. They never want to answer their question, but yet they want to question all the Republicans. RFK, how you get this? You made $2-3 million. How do you get that? They always want to ask about how somebody else make their money, but yet when you ask them, they got their security guard pushing you, choking you. Then she airborne people. This is what they do. But it would have been Donald Trump and anybody around him. It'd have been on the news. But now mainstream media, they not going to cover this. They're going to act like it never happened. They ain't going to cover Elizabeth Warren airborne a reporter. They ain't going to talk about it. It's going to take us. It's going to take maybe Fox News. I don't think they talked about it yet. I'm not for sure. But like I said, y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about this. Thank you all for watching, especially the ones that made it to the end. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.